G'day there guys, my name's Marky, and welcome back to some more stories from Reddit. Hope you enjoy. Am I the asshole for not telling my parents that I received money from my college? I, 20-year-old, non-binary, live with my parents, 50-something, and my two sisters, who are 20 and 19 years old. For as long as I can remember, my parents have had financial difficulties. For the past 4 months, I have paid the entirety of my parents' rent. While I don't really make that much, I work 50 hours a week most weeks due to understaffing, so I get pretty good-sized paycheck. Plus, most of the time, I'm able to set aside some money for saving. However, these past months, every one of my dad's paychecks, he makes the most money out of us all, have been garnished or been completely gone before he ever gets them. I have the misfortune of getting paid the exact same days as him, so the majority of my paychecks and all my savings have gone to paying for bills. 2 weeks ago, my dad didn't get his paycheck, and I ended up overdrawing my bank account $1,000. It was an accident, as I'd forgotten about a payment that I had made that had yet to show up. So when I got my paycheck on Friday, it was just $100, which my dad immediately asked for 80 of. I'd told my parents that I would be unable to help financially for the next 2 weeks, and again, my dad didn't get his checks, so my parents are scrambling to get money together to avoid our utilities being cut off. My college does this thing. I don't know if every college does this or not, where you pay the full amount of your tuition, and then at the end of the semester, you get the amount of scholarships and financial aid paid to you. There is a deadline to get the money, however, they hold it for you if you miss it. The most of the 2 years I've been going there, I've forgotten to do that, so the money has been sitting around. I had missed the December deadline for the fall semester, but I got a jump on spring knowing that I would forget, and it's my last year at that college because I'm transferring to another one. I promptly forgot about it. Well, on Friday, I received an email from the bank system my college uses that I would be receiving the money. I had shrugged it off because most of the time I received my money from that kind of stuff really late. So while the email said 1 to 2 business days, I was thinking that it would be in June, so imagine my surprise when I see that that day it was in my account. Also, considering that it's been sitting there for 2 years, it's a fair amount. I am by no means rich or anything, but it was certainly more than I had been expecting. I paid a bill that I just haven't been able to, and the majority is just sitting in my bank account. It's been 2 days, and I haven't mentioned anything about the money. My parents never even knew I was getting money from my college due to my forgetfulness. I know that this money could help make sure that none of our utilities are cut off, but I can't seem to bring myself to tell them. I'm moving out soon, so this money could go towards giving me some breathing room or go to my classes this summer, so I really want to save it and not say anything, and just let my parents assume that I only have $20 to my name. However, if the utilities get cut off, then I will be affected as well. I feel like such an asshole for not telling my parents about the money. I know that I'm just being selfish, but I am so tired of every penny I make going towards my family's bills. I know my mum feels extremely guilty every time they do this, but it's something they have to do to survive. So am I the asshole? Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, here you go. My parents have a lot of payday loans from my childhood, other loans, and owe money to the state and IRS. My dad had at one point been accused of a gambling addiction. It runs in his family, and he had at one point had one. However, my parents have talked this out. My dad's company also has shitty communication, so we have no way of knowing when he is garnished and why until he gets paid. Everyone does work, but me and my dad make the most money. My mum works a minimum wage job, my sisters work part-time minimum wage jobs, my mum and 20-year-old sister do help pay bills. My little sister, however, does not. She's the type that has a little bit of money and goes wild. My parents pay for a lot of her stuff without ever seeing a dime of it. My parents are trying to stop that, however, it is extremely difficult due to other factors that I will not get into on this post, as it has nothing to do with money. The reason I make a lot of money is because I'm a lifeguard, and due to the lack of them, we are paid intensively. As many of you have suggested, I am moving out. I'm moving to a different city this summer for classes. I honestly don't think I need to go to such extremes as some of you suggested. My bank account is separate from theirs. We do use the same bank though. My parents do not try to sneakily get my money, and the few times my dad has, I've called him out for it and berated him over it. My mom also feels extremely guilty about the entire situation, and as such, I don't see her doing anything underhanded. And as for my dad, I have strict guidelines with him. I do have a ton of notifications on both my credit card and bank account, to the point of $1 getting spent, I will know. Also, no, I will not be getting back the money that I have given to my parents. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to be another thing that they have to pay off. However, some of your suggestions I will follow. My parents are aware, and I will remind them when I leave that I will not be able to pay things when they leave, as I will be both reducing my hours at work and having my own bills to pay, such as school and the apartment. In the comments, the Eternal Veggie says, "Not the asshole. You were technically paying for school yourself, right? The student loans and scholarships are all in your name, so that money is yours. Put it into savings, use it to buy textbooks next summer. If it's money left over from your student loans, you'll technically have to pay it back when you start paying your loans, so might as well use it as you please. I received money back from college for a few semesters, like $600 per semester, but at that time my parents paid for my tuition. Only $1,500 per semester, it was community college. So I just paid them back that money since it was theirs anyway, but when I started paying for myself, I kept that money for myself." OP replies, "I pay for college out of pocket. I don't have student loans and no one else has paid for my tuition, so it is absolutely my money." Not the asshole. Get your parents off of your accounts and lock your credits. Your dad clearly has something wrong with his ability to handle himself if his wages are being garnished to that extent, or he's lying to you to get your money. Why aren't your adult siblings also responsible for household expenses? Edit to add, keep that money and put it towards your future school expenses or to pay against your loans. It is school money, not supporting your family money. Yeah, I agree. The dad's gambling addictions here and the history of it in his family is no excuse. He should know better and he should be doing better. And I get that I'm in a privileged position of not having an addiction of saying that, but surely when your family is struggling like it is, you gotta do something. And I know I've seen those that have seen their family struggling, that have caused their family to struggle more, and continued to go in their merry way because they're doing all right themselves, but no one else is. But hey, as long as I'm good, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. That's the mentality of an addict. It pisses me off and it's not cool, and I really don't want OP to keep suffering here. As hurtful and as sad as it is, take the advice of the commenters and cut the umbilical cord, stop giving them support, and go do your own thing. That's the only way that you're going to get ahead in life, or else the crabs in that bucket will continue to drag you down. To many, it may seem like a heartless thing to do, but that's survival. And now, onto the update, titled, "Would I be the asshole for going no contact with my dad, and technically being responsible for my parents' divorce?" So I live with my parents and two sisters for now. I am moving out next month. So my dad decided to play a joke on me. He took my card and took out 90% of the money in my checking account. For those wondering about the college money that I got from a previous post, it's in another savings account that is through another institution, so it is safe. He then put my card back in its original position and went to work, quote unquote. He did all of this around midnight. So I woke up in the morning to most of my money being gone. My first thought was that my dad took my card without asking, but my card was still in my wallet and where I left it. I had thought that someone had cloned my card and guessed my PIN. I sent off a quick text to my mum and called my bank, and I spent a while doing that. I was so anxious, I was practically sobbing, and I'm not a person that really cries. That money was my deposit and rent for June. I then went into the living room and heard my mum arguing. I couldn't hear much, but I heard my mum exclaim, "What made you think that it was a good idea?" Instant dread filled me. I walked up to my parents' room, and my mum was arguing with my dad on the phone. According to my dad, he found our cat playing with my card, and he decided to take it and remove my money to teach me a lesson about leaving my card lying around and then go to work. My dad apologized to me, and I just handed the phone back to my mum and stormed out of the room. My dad had pulled something like this to me before, except he took all of my money and then quote-unquote lost it. My dad claimed that he took the money to teach me a lesson for leaving my card around my family. Later on, he told me in private that he took it because he knew that I was lying about the amount of money I had. I had been saving that money for a medical thing, so I was hiding it because my family is always in a state of financial distress, and he would ask for it if he knew that I had it, and I was just done being in constant pain. Anyways, there were clear flaws in the story that he told to us. First being that I had my card and it was in my wallet exactly where I left it. This was a whole separate trip from going to work. Also, neither my wallet or my card have any sign of damage. My dad works out of the city, which is a 1.5-hour car ride from where we live. My mum said that she will drive me to my dad's work, where we will pick up the money. We don't trust him to have it till he is done working due to what happened last time. He protested, saying that that will use too much gas and that he will drive down instead, as that will use the same amount of gas. This ultimately leads to my mum practically having the confirmation that he has started gambling again. My dad had a gambling addiction when I was younger, but he got help for it and had been clean for a while. As in her mind, why else would he be so adamant that we not go to his work? He came home and returned all the money to me. Yes, I counted over and over again to make sure. He apologized and I said nothing. My mum said that he didn't sound sincere. My dad blew up on her, saying that he had apologized over the phone and that he was obviously sorry about what happened. He later on apologized to me about that, but I ignored it and he doesn't seem to be talking to my mum. My mum has told me that she's going to talk to a lawyer and she's absolutely torn up about this. There have been so many issues with their relationship this past year, but this seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back to leave her 40-year marriage to my dad. My sisters don't know what's going on, or if they do, then not the whole situation. I told her that once I move out, that I might go no contact with him. My mum got all sad and said she doesn't blame me for wanting to after all that my dad put me through. I'm honestly emotionally drained and dreading calling back my bank. My mum had this great weekend planned for us, but now there is an overwhelming feeling of dread and tension over everything. I was actually going to finally do something for myself that I'd finally worked up the nerve to ask my mum about, but that had to be cancelled. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm moving out soon, I would have called my friend and moved out today. I'm just done with my dad and this situation. At the same time, I feel such an overwhelming guilt. I know that I did the right thing, that I had to tell my mum and protect myself financially, but I don't know. I feel responsible for my parents separating, and me and my mum are the only ones that know that, even though my dad made his choice. The fact that I love my dad, and I still want a close relationship with him like I never had, yet I can't imagine ever talking to him after he put me through all this. I also feel like I'm too emotional and hasty to make these decisions, as all of this happened today. Maybe I just need confirmation that I'm doing the right thing. So would I be the asshole here? In the comments, not the asshole. Your dad stole from you. Change your PIN number and passwords on everything. OP says, oh, absolutely. I reached out to my bank thinking that someone copied my card before I found out that it was my dad. I'm getting a new PIN, new card, and account information. Everything is being changed. Good. And try to move past your guilt. This is absolutely your father's fault. You are supposed to trust your parents financially, emotionally, and physically. Unfortunately, they can also be trash humans. This is the reality, and it hits you in the guts. Not your fault. Absolutely, this is the reality of dealing with addicts. It's really, really hurtful, OP. Don't beat yourself up for the actions of someone else that doesn't want to change. Don't blame yourself for him ending the marriage through his own actions and words, and then his inability to sincerely apologize. He deserves that divorce if he's going to act that way. What has he done that shows he really wants true reconciliation? That was a forced apology and he's insincere. Screw him. He stole from you when his actions cause your family to continually be financially insecure, then just continues to lie about the fact that he hasn't gone back to gambling and hasn't gone back to the thing that put you here in the first place. Everyone needs to chuck him out. Everyone needs to get him to hit rock bottom. He needs to learn his lesson. If your mum were to stay with him for this, she'd only be enabling this disgusting abuse of your family. And now, on to the updates. I know it's been 2 weeks since my last post, but a lot has happened since then. My parents are getting a divorce, and I have mixed feelings about this. My mum has started to track my dad. I know it's an invasion of privacy, but it was the only way to know for sure. Multiple times the tracker has put him at a casino when he claims that he is working. My mum has figured that he has been getting his paycheck 2 days early and not telling anyone. My mum called a lawyer last Wednesday to talk about her next move. My dad isn't fighting it, which is honestly destroying my mum. Yesterday, we got an eviction notice that we have to be out by the end of the month. This has happened before, but my dad has always explained it away. Apparently my dad, hasn't paid the rent in 4 months. My dad hasn't said anything about this. He knows that we are all seeing through him and his act. My mum and younger sister are going to live with my maternal grandparents. Me and my other sister are moving out to our own apartment at the end of the week. This makes me extremely angry, because my parents got the money from me to pay for the rent. Instead, it was going to my dad's gambling. I did a calculation for how much I gave them this year, and I am horrified that it's over $10,000. All my savings for college, so many of my paychecks that I've given up to help my family, have actually gone to my dad's gambling addiction. I feel so used and like a fool. I feel so betrayed. My mum has told me that she doesn't want me to go no contact with my dad. She wants to hold family dinners once everything is settled down, and she has a place and she's going to invite my dad. My mum still loves my dad and keeps saying that he is sick. I know this. I know that he isn't well, that he has lost control, but I don't know if I can keep him in my life. He used me and manipulated me. I feel less like his child and more like his walking bank account. He broke our family, and even if it's because he's sick, I don't know if I can put it past me. I know that it would destroy my mum to cut my dad out of my life. I know you guys say that I'm not the arsehole in my last post, but I still feel like one. I might add more later as I have to go to work. Edit, adding some details I forgot about in a rush to go to work. One of the reasons that my mum is going to do these dinners is to give my dad a reason to get help. I honestly don't think that will work. First, my father is rarely with us or does stuff when he lives with us. I doubt he will go. Second, if the looming threat of divorce didn't kick him into gear, I don't think weekly dinners will. I have a really good relationship with my mom, so I do want to go to these dinners to spend time with her, but I don't know if I can face my dad if he decides to come. My mom wants me to have a good relationship with my dad, which is why she doesn't want me to go no contact with him. Also, some of it is likely her guilt for the situation and the fact that I tend to be the person that she goes to for help. Also, a lot of you have been confused by me being responsible for their divorce. Like I said, it was an update to a post that I had made previously. If you want all the information, go look at that post, but the rundown is that I woke up and saw that someone stole my money. I told my mum, and she figured out that it was my dad. My mum realized that she needs to divorce my dad due to him lying about what had happened. My mum has never told me that any of it was my fault. It was how I was feeling in the moment. I have since gotten over that guilt. Many of you have said that I should try to get the money back from my dad. I'm not sure. I made peace in not getting the money back. I'm not going to take him to court. My life is already crazy without worrying about court and my dad's gambling addiction. Not to mention, I really don't have proof that I could show the court, as I just gave the money to my mum. I never made any comments digitally about what the money is for, so it will absolutely fall apart and become a he said, they said. And honestly, I don't want to deal with it. I just want to move past this. In the comments, Pine Needle says, "No, you wouldn't be the asshole. Your father may be a sick person, but until he faces the consequences of his actions, loss of housing and relationships, he isn't going to get treatment. You need to take care of you." I'd like to tag into this to remind OP that addicts are still responsible for what they do and who they hurt in the throes of addiction. Addiction sucks, but that doesn't mean that dad is blameless. Your dad is doing this, not you, OP. You are not responsible for your dad's F-ups. Talk to someone versed in financial aid about getting your dad off of your record as far as any income goes so that you can still apply for FAFSA and for scholarships. It may not be as much money that you gave him, but it should still help with college. Absolutely, he is still responsible. I don't blame you if you go no contact with him. Your family is now broken up. He's in the midst of a divorce and he still doesn't care to apologize or be sincere in the slightest. I don't blame you, and you shouldn't be blaming yourself as hard. You are not to blame for this situation. Stop beating yourself up. Our next update is titled, Am I the asshole here for not wanting my dad to live with me? So, I live in my own apartment with my sister and my roommate, male 19. We moved in about 2 weeks ago. Due to the events in one of my previous posts, me and her are the only ones in my family not homeless. My dad has been living in his car and staying in hotels when able. My dad has recently been hospitalized for a multitude of reasons, and no, I won't go into detail. He is going to be released soon, and some of the medical advice that is going to be given to my dad, he can't follow due to being homeless. My parents haven't mentioned the fact that my dad's homeless or that they are in the middle of a divorce to the hospital. My mum is scared about what that would mean for him. My mum has asked me to talk to my roommates to see how they would feel about my dad living with us temporarily. I agreed, but I honestly don't want to have him. This might be selfish, but he would be in my room due to the fact that he works nights. He won't do my sister's room because her room is hyper-feminine and is only separated by a curtain from the living room. As I'm the only one with an actual room, he would be sleeping in my room. Our schedules are pretty reversed, so we would never see each other except on my days off, but I really hate this idea. In our previous house, I had to share my room with my mum because of her working from home. This meant that whenever someone feels like it, they would barge into my room. I finally have my own space that no one could barge into, and not even 2 weeks later, it might be stripped from me. Not to mention, I'm currently searching for another job due to the fact that I have moved to another city and no longer want to commute 3 hours each way, and I have a couple of phone interviews lined up for my days off, and I can't go into the living room due to my roommates also having those days off, and I don't like talking on the phone in public. My dad has also not acknowledged that he has done anything wrong. I am also still pissed at him. He can't go with my mum and other sister due to my maternal grandparents hating his guts at the moment. He can't ask any of his family due to the fact that they are abusive, and he doesn't want to admit how bad his situation has gotten. So this just leaves me and my sister. My dad already doesn't like our roommate due to sexism and toxic masculinity. I don't think he will act any way that will show it, but I really don't want to place him in a situation where he might have to deal with that. I have yet to tell my roommates, as they've already left when my mum asked, and I don't want to ruin the event or have this conversation over text. I'm very tempted to pay out all the reasons that it would be a bad idea for them so that they agree that we can't do it, so I'm not the asshole, but I don't like the idea of manipulating them. But your parents are cool to manipulate you, okay. Yeah, I see how it is. This is why manipulators prey on younger people, because they don't have their mind where it should be, with rage. My mum said that my dad probably won't accept the offer, but I'm not sure that I can make that offer. Also, hotels are not the option due to the fact that none of us have the money for them, and my dad will likely be paying off this trip for a while. I honestly feel like either way, I'm screwed, so am I the asshole here? In the comments, Delift says, "This sounds way too big for Reddit to solve." OP says, "Unfortunately, Reddit is my only solution because I have no one to talk to about this situation." It's not too big for me. I say screw him, let him live in the car, he caused this is his fault, make him live in the streets, make him pay for what he's done to all of you. He shouldn't be living with you, he should not be allowed to live with you, that should not be a thought that is ever entertained. Screw that guy. He made his bed, he can sleep in it, in the car, in the street, dealing with shit himself. Why anyone is still interacting with him is beyond my comprehension at this point. And now, on to the final update. Am I the asshole here for not sending my dad a happy birthday text? So yesterday was my dad's birthday. I have been pretty much no contact with him since my last post about him, only really seeing him here and there. My dad has reached out to me once, but I didn't respond. Never once has he apologized for what he has done. For the past week, I have been debating if I should send him the above text. No matter what I decided, I wasn't going to get him anything after all the money that he took from me. Then on Wednesday, my phone got stolen. I spent most of Wednesday and yesterday trying to find it and come up with a solution so that I can do all the things that I need to do. I thought that that was the answer to texting my dad. Yesterday, I got a new phone and was talking to my mum. She texts me that I need to send my dad a text. She always reminds me to send birthday and holiday texts, as I'm notorious for forgetting to. I said I will later, as I still hadn't decided if I was going to. She then told me that she gave my dad $20 for me. I was shocked. She said all my siblings agreed to send him $20 for a hotel room. We all know that he will probably gamble it away. I had never agreed due to my stolen phone. I was pretty much out of contact, but I had still talked to her through my roommates. She also could have waited and asked if I was okay with it, which I would have said no. I don't think my mum will ask me for the $20. She just seemed to do it in my name. Regardless, I was pissed off. So I didn't text my dad because I wanted to make sure that he was aware that I haven't forgiven him and that we don't have a relationship anymore. I also did it to spite my mum for putting my name on a gift that I never agreed to. I was so sure of it yesterday, but now I think I might have just been petty. Am I the asshole here? In the comments, Delightful Absurdity says, "Good gods, I hope OP doesn't let their leech of a father in their home." Sin of Omission says, "When I saw, should I let my dad move in with me, I shouted no out loud." The best thing is that OP has roommates. In this instance, throw the roommates under the bus and say they don't want another person in the apartment, especially if they aren't contributing to the bills. Roommates won't care as long as dad doesn't come and never leave. Mum giving dad money is on her. OP, you don't have to do anything. When asked, just say that we are no contact, I did nothing for birthdays, holidays, etc. when he's involved. I especially won't give him money. Did the phone get lost, or did it gain sentience with OP saying dad could move in and decide to nope the hell out on its own? I was also thinking about the roommates thinking about what happens to OP when dad starts stealing from others. OP really needs to leave this toxicity behind them. They have been financially abused for years, and it will only stay stopped so long as OP doesn't allow their father in their life. If he's back, the theft and lying and needing will fire right back up. The dad is the biggest asshole, but to be honest, the mum's a bit of an asshole too. You know what your child has been through because of their dad, and you try and force continuous contact with the family dinners, and also for them to live together after this? Yes, the dad is unwell and has an addiction, but what about the mental health of your child? I feel the mum is trying to lessen her own guilt of the divorce by finding solutions for the dad, and in turn, putting OP in a bad position. Also, way to put it all on OP to tell their roommates that their thieving deadbeat piece of shit father wants to commandeer their apartment and wallets. Yeah, if I was the roommates, I wouldn't want that piece of shit in my house. Part of a home is not having to secure your non-firearm valuables beyond locking the front door. Mum should give that $20 bill to OP instead. After all, deadbeat thief dad still owes them $10,000. Stop pouring water in that shit-ass well and start trying to patch up the damage done to OP instead. I'm of the opinion the mum is almost as bad as the dad. At no point in the story does she do anything to protect her kids from their father. In fact, she exacerbates it by saying OP should not go no contact, or inviting him to the family dinners, or giving him more money. Also believing an addict without question, and never checking on why or when money is being taken out of his checks. Anyone with 2 functioning brain cells knows your employer legally needs to provide all of that info beforehand. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!